Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov. Thank you. Shavua Tov, everybody. We're on Nun Aleph Amud Beis on the bottom. Here it is. It's about 6-7 lines from the bottom. It says Masai Yontif. This is talking about Simchas Beis Hasheva, and it says Masai Yontif Harishon, which means the first night of Chol HaMoed. So they went to Ezras Nashim and they made a big tikkun. A tikkun gadol. The Mishnah doesn't say what it is. It could be interesting. Some want to understand that it means what the Mishnah says later on. The next words that they had big menorahs over there that made a lot of light. Maybe that was a tikkun gadol in the pshat. But the Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara says tikkun gadol, doesn't say in the Mishnah what it is. Well, now we're going to say what it is. So this is the Gemara. My tikkun gadol. What do they do? What do they fix up on the first night?
The Gemara is kind of fuzzy. It's not so clear. I don't know why. On the screen.
On the screen. I don't know what to say. Well, we'll be on the next daf. So let me just jump to the next daf. How does this look on this daf? How does that?
Perfectly clear. Yes.
Okay, so a couple of lines only. Okay. So the Gemara says, what was that big tikkun? What did they do? What was the tikkun gadol that they did on the first night before they started Simchas Beis Hasheva? That first, it used to be on one level. The Ezras Nashim, the outer courtyard, was one level. But they then, at a certain point, like I'm going to say soon, they surrounded it, inside, of course, with what they call a gallery. They made a balcony all around, and that's where the women were going to be. About a Simchas Beis Hasheva, the men will be on the bottom, and the women will be on the top, like a gallery, like we have many shuls nowadays. So that was a chiddush that they did in the Beis Hamikdash. And they enacted that the women should be sitting on top and the women on the bottom, men on the bottom. And that was a tikkun to separate the men and the women, that it shouldn't come to kalas rosh, it shouldn't come to levity if there's mingling of the men and the women. Even in the Beis Hamikdash, it seems that even the Beis Hamikdash also, you need a precaution that it shouldn't get to mingling.
I do have two pictures. I don't know, should I quickly show them?
Yes.
So here's one. You're seeing these beams is where they're going to make.
So they're saying that they're based on Rashi. They're based on Rashi that the Gzustra, the Pashvat Gzustra means the balcony, but Rashi says that it means that they made the whole year round. They made these beams which should be protruding, and then when it came the night to just the planks on top to be able to be on top, they didn't make the whole structure. To make the whole structure would be too difficult. And here's the putting the planks over there. The beams are there the whole year round, and the planks they put on, and then the people will be standing on top of the planks. Yashikach. The women will be on top, right? And the men are on the bottom. Yashikach. Okay. So that was the big takana. It seems to happen in stages. It wasn't right away that they had this solution. First, they made that the women should be Ezras Nashim and the men were outside in the Har Bayis. It seems that by Simchas Beis Hasheva that the actual celebration was done in Har Bayis and the women were in Ezras Nashim, but that wasn't good enough. Still, there was levity. There was still some mingling. Doesn't say what it is. Kalas Rosh means levity, but a lightheadedness, but I guess there was some mingling, and that wasn't good enough. For some reason, I thought it would be better if the men would be inside by the Ezras Nashim, and the women should be outside in the Har Bayis, but it still didn't work. But still there was some levity over there. Then they made this takana, and they made a gallery, and the women were on top, and the men were on the bottom, and then that was enough of a separation. And then once we go into the subject now of the source that you're supposed to separate the men and women, that it shouldn't come to levity. First of all, it's a problem that in the Beis Hamikdash, how are you allowed to add on anything to the Beis Hamikdash? It says in the pasuk it's supposed to be exactly the way it says. This pasuk is really talking about David HaMelech before the first Beis Hamikdash, and he said that Hashem had told him everything was written from Hashem, that Hashem had told me. So Rashi says that Nas and Navi got a chose, that the Nevi'im, I'm not sure if Rashi says all of that, but there it is, bottom of the Rashi, got a chose Nas and Navi, that the Nevi, not that David was a Navi, doesn't say David, not that Hashem told David, but through the Nevi'im, David was told exactly how to make the Beis Hamikdash. That's talking about the first Beis Hamikdash, but the Gemara understands the same thing is about a second Beis Hamikdash. There were some differences from the first, but it was made al pi Nevi'im, and that's the Gemara's kasha. How were they able to change anything? Everything that was the exact structure was made from the word of Hashem. How were they able to add on a gallery? Rav says, they found the pasuk. It means they didn't find the pasuk how to do the Beis Hamikdash, but they found the pasuk that it's necessary to make a separation between men and women. And therefore, if that's what Hashem wants, so it means even in the Beis Hamikdash also you have to do whatever is necessary in order to make a separation. What does it say? It's a pasuk in Zechariah. It's talking about in the future. It says, "V'saf da'aretz mishpachos levad, mishpachos beis David levad, and Hashem levad." That's the pasuk. It talks about in the future there's going to be some hesped. The Gemara is going to talk about soon what that hesped is going to be about, what that eulogy is going to be. And it says that they did each family separately made a hesped, and by each family it says that the family and separately and their women separately. So it says that the men and women were separated even by a hesped. The Gemara is soon going to talk about what was hesped all about. But that's enough source to see that even when there's a hesped, there has to be a separation of men and women. Amru, so Chazal said, in the future, where it's talking about over there in Zechariah, there's a hesped. First, hesped is not a happy thing, so it's less reason to have levity. And also, there's no Yetzer Hara because it's going to say soon that at that time the Yetzer Hara is going to be slaughtered. It's not going to be Yetzer Hara anymore. We're going to see soon the Gemara. Then we jump back to this Gemara over here that there's not going to be a Yetzer Hara. We'll see soon why. And also, it's a hesped. Even nowadays, when there's a hesped, not such reason to be levity. But still, you have to have a separation. Even by funeral, there has to be a separation. Amr Torah, Anashim Lavad, Anashim Lavad. So surely, over in this case, with a celebration, this has some Shaiva, and there is a Yetzer Hara still nowadays. And also Yetzer Hara Sholei Bohem, Allah has come overcome. If you're talking about a celebration of something, and also it's before the Yetzer Hara was slaughtered, we still have a Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination. Surely, it's necessary to separate the men and the women. So that was the drasha that they saw, that it's necessary to have a separation, and therefore, even though the Beis Hamikdash, the structure was given instructions how to do it exactly, but if we see that the men and women are supposed to be different, so it means even in the Beis Hamikdash also you have to separate it also. The Gemara now goes into the pasuk in Zechariah. What's the hesped going to be all about? What is that issue of the hesped? What kind of eulogy is there going to be in the future? Between these two Tanoim, Rav Dos and Rabbanan. One is because Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be killed. So this concept of Mashiach ben Yosef is very common nowadays, maybe. Mabi, Mabad, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David. But to point out that this daf, on Amud Aleph Amud Beis, is the only place they say in Shas that it talks about Mashiach ben Yosef. Everybody knows Mashiach is Mashiach ben David. That it means that the Mashiach, the anointed one that's going to be in the future, is going to be from Zerah David. It has to be from the seed of David. And Mashiach is Mashiach ben David. What's Mashiach ben Yosef? So it's a new concept. Here it says there's also Mashiach ben Yosef. They talk about Mashiach ben Ephraim also. But Mashiach ben Yosef is a concept or a person or a concept that it's not clear in the Gemara what it's all about. Here it says that he's going to be killed. And then Mashiach ben David is not going to be killed. What is that Mashiach all about? So I could just say what I heard B'Shem Degrua, not that the Gemara says it, but that Mashiach ben Yosef is a stage of redemption that still goes b'derech hateva. It's still in the natural realm, and Mashiach ben David is going to be supernatural. You could say whatever is happening to Am Yisrael in the past 75, 100 years, 150 years, when the people started coming back there as Israel, that's called, it was all in a natural way. Of course, there were supernatural things like the 6-Day War, but it's still within the realm of natural. It's not Nisim Gluyim, even though some of them were Nisim Gluyim. But that might be the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef, either people or the whole Tekufa, the whole era, that's called a certain kind of a Mashiach, that's called a Mashiach from the seed of Yosef. I don't know more than that. The words are, the Gemara are, that Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be killed, and it's going to be a big hesped. So it could be it's a concept, could be it's like a whole era. But here the Pasuk the Gemara says it's a person and he's going to be killed. And the Gemara talks about it a lot. I don't know too much, but they had many tefillas of Od Yosef Chai to keep Mashiach ben Yosef alive. I don't know all these concepts, but it seems Kabbalistic. This is the only place in the Gemara, and here also Amud Beis is going to say it again about Mashiach ben Yosef. As far as I know, there's no other place in the Shas. I don't know myself, but I was told that there's no other place in the Shas where it talks about it. And the Mekubalim talks about it a lot. But anyway, here it says that Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be killed.
Far from that, saying that Yosef is like Yaakov. Yaakov left Lavan because now Yosef was born, and that was the antithesis of Esau. Maybe,
but that wouldn't be enough of a source over here. But that wouldn't be a source. Maybe a connection over there. Once you know the facts, then you can put it all together. But we wouldn't have been able to extract it from there. Okay, so one says that's the reason why there's going to be a hesped, because Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be killed, and everyone will be eulogizing him. One says because the Yetzer Hara is going to be killed. The evil inclination is going to be killed. Just to go back a second to more before, that it says why that the more says Kal V'chomer that in this case there's going to be a hesped, and also there's no Yetzer Hara. Right. So the fact that it says no Yetzer Hara is only according to one man Diyama. One man Diyama says that Yetzer Hara is going to be killed. So that's why there's no Yetzer Hara anymore. and there's not such a big hesped over there because the Yetzer Hara is being killed. But according to the other man, the Amar that it was Mashiach ben David, then there is a Yetzer Hara, but there is a hesped. So Mashiach ben Yosef is yes. So then that's the reason why there will be a hesped, but there still will be a Yetzer Hara. So in the back of the Gemara, the Yefei Naim, he says that these 2 points might be according to the 2 man Amrim. That according to what we said in the bottom over here now, the one Machlokes, if it means is Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be killed or the Yetzer Hara is going to be killed, that might be what the Gemara we meant before, the 2 points, either or, not both. Either there's no Yetzer Hara or there's a hesped going on. Anyway, the Gemara says, Bishlam al Mandam al Mashiach Yosef Shenerag, Hanu the Sibbe, Bita Veilai, as I shared the Koru. Over there in the Pasuk, over there in that issue, it says that they're going to be looking. I forgot the word exactly, the one that was stabbed. Means that there was somebody that was stabbed, and because of that, they're going to be eulogizing, and there's going to be a sadness. So if Mashiach ben Yosef was killed, we understand that the terrible thing that he was killed. But, I'm sorry, I stopped in the middle of the pasuk. They're going to be eulogizing on him the way someone would eulogize on an only son. So that's like a terrible pain, eulogy. So it makes sense that Mashiach ben Yosef is killed. That's the reason why they're eulogizing with such a big pain. If the Yetzer Hara is killed, not a reason to make a eulogy, it's a reason to make a celebration. So why are they eulogizing with such a big pain? Why were they crying? The Gemara answers there's a reason to cry even when the Yetzer Hara is killed. Because the Darash of Yehuda said a drash. In the future, Hashem is going to bring the evil inclination and slaughter him before the righteous and the wicked. Tzaddikim did melem kahar gavoa, but Risham did melem kechot hasara. The Tzaddikim are going to see the Yetzer Hara as if it will be a big mountain. The Risham are going to see it'll be imagined to them nidmel, be similar to them like a chut hasara, like a small thing, and they say that it's real. The Gemara is going to say maybe something which is much, but both of them are right. That in the beginning the Yetzer Hara is very small, and if you break it down, you nip it in the bud, it's a small thing, like just tearing a string. But if you let it come again and again and again, like the Risham do, so then eventually it becomes a big mountain. So it might be that the Tzaddikim, they see that it could have been a big mountain. The Risham see that it could have been a small hair. So everybody sees it in a different aspect. Both of them could be true. I said it just now, Pshat doesn't say that in the Gemara, but it might be pretty simple Pshat. Then it says everyone's crying. Everyone's going to be crying. Tzaddikim are going to say, how will we be able to conquer such a big mountain? So why is that a reason to cry? I still don't know. Rashi says because they remember the pain that they had, which is pretty difficult because even when somebody had a big pain, but when he's successful, he looks back and he says, wow, I did it. So I don't understand. That's what Rashi says. And the Marsha suggests maybe they were crying from happiness, which also doesn't fit so well, I think, because the Gemara talks about that there's a misfit ala yachid, like eulogizing. It doesn't sound like someone's crying from happiness. So I don't have a good shot. Let's see Rashi here. Yes, Sadiqim Bochim, Shen is Kohen B'Tzarim. I'm not sure why that's a reason to cry. But I think, but I'm just asking. I don't know. That's what Rashi says. But yes, but here Rashi says they're crying because they remember the big pain that they had, and here it says that they're eulogizing like this, like an only son. I don't understand it, but that's what the Gemara says.
Doesn't mean when they're crying. Excuse me. Doesn't mean when they're crying when they see how big it is. That when they overcame it, maybe they didn't think it was such a big thing that they overcame.
And now they see that it is a big thing.
And now they're shocked that they were able to do it.
But why are they crying? It'll be happiness, even a super happiness. I don't get it. I don't understand why it's a reason to cry.
Tsar is not forgotten.
So I would think yes. I would think when a person had a tsar and he did it. He got it.
He feels great. He did it, but the shayr is still there.
Okay, I'm not going to try to make a problem out of it. I don't understand it. But if everybody's happy with it, it's good. And that's why the tzaddikim are crying. Why they were showing crying, that we understand. How didn't we do it? It would have been so simple. If we would have done it right, according to the rules, we could have overcame it. So both of them are going to be crying, and that's how we explained before to Mand Yamrim what's going to be the hesped over there in Zechariah, either because Mashiach ben Yosef was killed, or the Yetzer Hara is going to be killed, and both tzaddikim and Risham are both going to be crying. HaKadosh Baruch himself is also going to be wondering together with them. It means the same way they say, how do we do it? The tzaddikim probably is going on that they say, how did we do it? Hashem is going to say that just like it's going to be a wonder in the eyes of the remnant of the people at those days, so too in my eyes it's going to be a wonder. this pasuk is taken out of context and it's taken out of place. It's not in the same pasuk over there, so I don't understand how the Gemara sees the drash over there. The pasuk over there is talking about something else. Over there, it's talking about the pasuk that everybody knows. Oh, the ocean was Canaan, so everyone's going to be in Yerushalayim. Is going to be old men and women and young children playing in the streets. And Hashem says, it's a wonder in my eyes. So that's possible, such a thing, but it's going to be. But the Gemara is not darshaning over there in the pasuk Pshat. It's darshaning it that it's talking about this issue of the Yetzer Hara, which is many prokim earlier. So I don't know how this pasuk is before the other pasuk. So I don't see how the Gemara is darshaning it. I don't know. The pasuk before was in the Zechariah Perek Yud Beis. This pasuk is in Zechariah Perek Ches. Prokim earlier. So I don't see the drash. I don't understand how the Gemara darshans that, but that's what the Gemara is saying, that Hashem is also going to be amazed at the fact that he were able to overcome the Yetzer Hara.
Rebbe,
Yes, please.
I asked this question because the word Pella doesn't apply to Hashem, because we see in the whole discussion on Chizkiah and Moshe Rabbeinu and Shira that Pella cannot apply to Hashem. So I found Makoros in Ein Yankov. It's true that both the Repinto, the Eitz Yosef, as well as the Maharsha all say that it's not Shayach by Hashem. And in fact, it's Hashem is doing it for on the tzaddikim, that they were misgaber, and for their schus, that if Hashem is mispala, it means it will increase their schar, that even Hashem was amazed that they were able to be misgaber on their Yetzer Hara, and the Ben Ish Chai says a similar thing.
Okay, Yashikov. Top line. In the beginning, the evil inclination is like a chut shel bukya. Rashi's bukya means a spider web. They're not clear what Rashi gets the word means a spider, but that's what Rashi says. Others say the string of a shuttle when you're weaving back and forth. Whatever it means that's a small string, and at the end it becomes like the ropes of a wagon. The ropes you need in order to pull a wagon, like big cords. So the Pashup Shad is that it gets intertwined, another string, another string, another string. Each one alone would have been just a small spider web, but spider string. But the more you put them together, so then it becomes a big cord. Like it says, woe to those people who pull on the sin with strings of nothingness. That's what the Gemara is mentioning at the beginning. There's such a string of nothingness. But then it says that the sin is like avos hagalah, like the cords, the ropes of a wagon. So that's the idea that the Yetzer Hara, I think that's a Pashup Shad the more wants to take from it. Down at the beginning, the Yetzer Hara is easy, but if you bring it on, you do it again and again and again, the Yetzer Hara is getting stronger, and then it's not very hard to break. The Gemara goes into Mashiach, the issue of Mashiach, and Mashiach ben Yosef was killed. Tanur Rabbanan, Mashiach ben David, Shasad Li Galos B'Meir V'Yameinu. Mashiach ben David, who the Gemara throws in parentheses that we hope, that we daven that he should be revealed soon in our days. Hashem is going to ask him, ask me something, I'll give you. Whatever you ask, I'll give you. Shenema, a person can tell him in the beginning, over there it says, Hashem says, I'm telling over. Or David is saying, Hashem Amar Elai B'ni Ata. Hashem says to me, to Mashiach ben David, you are my son. I bore you today. Ask me, and I'll give you. Even Goyim. I'll give you even nations to be your inheritance. So ask me whatever you want. So what is David going to ask for? When he's going to see Mashiach ben David, he's going to see Mashiach ben Yosef was killed. So he asked Hashem that I shouldn't be killed. All I'm asking for is that I should live. That's what I need. I need I should live. So Hashem tells to Mashiach ben David, they take out the word Chaim if you want. If you want, you can read it. But the point is that David HaMelech already said nevuah about you that you're going to ask it. Chaim, this point that you're asking for, even before it happened now that you asked for it, David HaMelech already prophesied about you that that's what you're going to ask for. In that pasuk over there, it says that he asks from you for life, and you gave it to him. So it talked about Mashiach ben Yosef is going to be killed, and Mashiach ben David is going to see that, and he asks Hashem that I should live, and Hashem is going to give it to him. And David HaMelech already said before it happened that that's what's going to happen. It goes further into the issues with the Yetzer Hara, and also about the evil inclination. There are Shabavira, Vitem Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Bavira, some say Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said it. Shiva Shem will say Shlo the Yetzer Hara. The evil inclination has 7 names. The names that obviously mean that it defines him. So, things that define the Yetzer Hara.
So Akadosh Baruch Hu brings back Mashiach ben Yosef.
No, this is my David, Mashiach ben David. It's so much Mashiach ben David over here. He asked for Chaim, and Hashem gave it to him.
For David, he asked for
Mashiach ben David. It says the Gemara says openly. The Gemara says before that Hashem asks Mashiach ben David. What it says? That's also Mashiach ben David. Hashem is going to say, "Ask for something, I'll give it to you." And it says he's going to see that Mashiach ben Yosef was killed, so he's going to say, "Hashem, give me life." And Hashem says, "David HaMelech already said the word that you're going to ask for that." So it's going on
to be
Mashiach.
killed.
Life means it shouldn't be killed. That's what life means. So Mashiach
David himself, even though he was
Mashiach ben David. The Gemara says
Mashiach ben David is fine.
So it says Mashiach ben David is going to ask for life, and Hashem says, "I'm going to give it to you." And just like, unlike Mashiach ben Yosef, who was killed, Mashiach ben David is not going to be killed. The Gemara continues that the Yetzer Hara has 7 names. 7 names means that it has seven characteristics. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't know the definition of each one. I know definition, translation, but I don't know some of them is easy, some of them I don't exactly understand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ra. The first name for the Yetzer Hara is evil. Hashem says that the inclination of man is evil from his youth. So that's the word Ra, that the Yetzer, the word the Yetzer means like a thought, a lure, that's the thoughts, the inclination of man is Ra. So this is the first name that it's called the Yetzer Hara. Ra, evil. Moshe Kora Orel. Moshe calls him Orel. The word Orel means like stuffed up. Like you say that an Orel is somebody where the foreskin is covering up the organ. That's called the Orel. Anytime there's Orel Slavavchem, Orel Oznam Mishmor, the word Orel means stuffed up. So the Yetzer Hara, stuffing up. You can say that a person's heart is stuffed up. That means that the Yetzer Hara, one of the aspects of the evil inclination is that he doesn't have emotions. He doesn't have feelings. He's numb. You should circumcise the foreskin or the stuffing of your heart. So you see that's the evil inclination, the orla, not the orla of the foreskin of the organ, but the foreskin of the heart. David called Tomei. David calls him Tomei. What do you see David called the Yetzer Hara Tomei? Shenam Alev Tor, Broli Elohim. He doesn't say Tomei, but he says he asks Hashem for a pure heart. If it means a pure heart, that means Machlal, you could Tomei. You could derive from that there's a Tomei heart. So we have already 3 names, Ra, and Orel, and Tomei. Shlomo Kore Sonei. Shlomo calls the Yetzer Hara the enemy. Shenema Im Raev Sonacho Achilei Lechem V'Im Samei Ashkei Umayim Ki Gecholam Matecho Tel Rosho V'Hashem Yishalem Lach. So the Gemara says the pasuk from the pasuk is not talking about the Yetzer Hara. It's a drash or a mishlei, so it's going to be the nimshal. But it says if your enemy is hungry, give him bread, and if he's thirsty, give him water, because you are stirring coals on his head, and Hashem is going to pay you back. So in the pasuk pshat means that even if you have an enemy, so be good to him, and it'll work out. Hashem will make that you should overcome him. But the Drash is saying now that this enemy is the Yetzer Hara, and that's where you see that a Yetzer Hara is called enemy. And it says, give him bread, give him water. What does that mean? Rashi says that bread and water is a mashal for Torah. So if your Yetzer Hara is hungry, so learn Torah, and that's going to overcome the Yetzer Hara. I wouldn't have known that without Rashi. That's what Rashi puts into the Gemara, that the bread and water is Torah. The Gemara doesn't go to detail about that. Once the Gemara mentions this pasuk, it says Hashem Yishalom, Hashem is going to pay you. So the Gemara's Drash on this point seems to be a side point. I think don't read that he's going to pay you, but the Yashlimenu means he's going to make peace with you. Hashem is going to cause that he should become to peace with you. That even the Yetzer Hara is going to stop bothering you, and he's going to be on good terms with you. But that's not necessary for the point we wanted. We just wanted that the Sonei, the Yetzer Hara is called the Sonei. So that was 4 names already. What do we have? Ra, Orel, Tamei, and Sonei. The next one is the 5th one, Yeshaya. Look, I'm sorry, I know what happened over there. Yeshaya Karo Michel. First one line, Yeshaya called them a stumbling block. Lift up the rocks. Solu, some say means to press down the road or to pick up the rocks. Panu derech, and clear the way. Take away the michshol. So the michshol is going to be the stumbling block. That's the Yetzer Hara. So that's the 5th name. Yecheskel Kora Evan. Yecheskel calls the Yetzer Hara stone. Hashem says, I'm going to remove this heart of stone. Similar to the idea before Orel. Orel meant stuffed up. Yeah, I don't know the difference between being stuffed up and being a heart of stone. Both of them means that he's not able to feel emotions and things like that. But it says that I'm going to take away from you the heart of stone. That's the Yetzer Hara, and I'm going to give to you a heart of flesh. Yoel Koro Tzfoni. And this is the last one. Yoel calls him Tzfoni. So the pasuk of the word Tzfoni means the northern one, like Tzafon. That's the pasuk shot in the pasuk. But the Gemara dashes here that it means the one who's hidden. And that the Gemara says like he's hidden in the recesses of the heart, and probably it also means something about that he's sly and he's able to camouflage himself. That's probably what's included in the word like tzafun. I'm going to distance that's phony. Again, the Pashup Shat means the northern one. For some reason over there, it's talking about something northern. But now the Gemara is not saying it means the one who's hidden, and it's referring to the Yetzer Hara. They take out these next couple of words, the nice gifts that take all this out. We can take all those words out, and the Gemara reads very nicely. It doesn't seem to be another Bryce, it's just explanation explaining what the Bryce was saying till now. The Bryce is continuing that when it says, I'm going to distance that's phony from you, that's referring to the Yetzer Hara. Why is he called phony? Because he's hidden. It says that he is hidden in the heart of man. The Gemara goes on to dash in this pasuk over there, wherever this pasuk is that's phony, is pasuk in Yoel. So it says over there, Vidachtiv Eleretz Tiyol Shmama. That's also, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is there. Sorry for that. Vidachtiv Eleretz Tiyol Shmama. I'm going to cast them away to a land of a parched and desolate land. And the more dashes, what does that mean? To a place where you can't bother anybody. Shem ben Adam Mitzuyin, this Goras band. There's no people that he could bother. Before the Gemara said Hashem is going to slaughter the Yetzer Hara. Here it says Hashem is going to cast them away to some place where he can't bother anybody. I'm not sure how those two things reconcile, unless you say before it's Machlokes. Some said that it wasn't going to be slaughtered, only the Mashiach and Yosef, so maybe it doesn't say this drash. But here it says that Hashem is going to take the Yetzer Hara and eventually put him in a place where he's not going to be able to bother anybody. The Gemara continues the pasuk also. This is still the pasuk in Yol. The Gemara is dashing. Es panav elayam kadmoni. I'll just show the psukim here. Es panav elayam kadmoni. And then the Gemara is going to dash in that. And then the pasuk continues. V'sofo elayam ha'acharon. And then the pasuk continues. V'ala v'ashov v'tal tzachananto. And then it says ki hegdil lasos. That's the pasuk. And now the Gemara is going to interject all the drushes. And it talks about what the Yetzer Hara did bad, that the Yetzer Hara is very bad. First pasuk says, I'm going to cast them away to a place where he can't bother anybody. And then it says, what did he do bad? His face was to the eastern sea. What does that mean? That he's the one who caused the first temple should be destroyed, of course, because of Averis, like it says, whatever the Averis of the first temple were, he's the one who put his eyes, like he had the intention of destroying the first temple, and he got it destroyed, and he also called it cause that the Tamid Chachamim in that era were killed. And then the pasuk continues, again the pasuk, and his end is in the how would you say Yom Acharon, also the sea, the last sea, the Yom Acharon. Okay, so what's the Rash over there? Shenos the name of Mikdash Sheni. The Rishon of the Acharon, Yom Kadmon, the Gemara is dashing not east. Gemara dashing Kadmoni means like the first one, that was the base of Mikdash Rishon, and Yom Acharon means the second one, the second base of Mikdash. Also, the Yetzer Hara wanted to destroy it, and what did he do? He accomplished it by getting people to sin, like it says in Aschina, whatever. Shenos the name of Mikdash Sheni v'Echrivo, and also he caused that Tamid Chacham should be killed at the era of the second Talmud, the second Bayis Sheni. And then the pasuk continues, his stench, the word Ba'ash and Sachana means stench, that his stench went up. What is a stench? Why did he get a stench? That he leaves alone the Goyim. Let him bother the Goyim. Let the Yetzer Hara go to the Goyim. He goes more to the Jews. He's more provoking the Jews than he is the Goyim, and that's considered a complaint against the Yetzer Hara. Why are you more provoking the Jews to do bad than you are the Goyim? And the end of the pasuk says, he did like a big thing. What's the big thing that he did? That he bothers Tamid Chachamim more than anybody. He's out to get Tamid Chachamim. That the evil inclination is out to make the Tamid Chachamim stumble. And the Gemara says a story over here. That Abaye heard a man telling a woman, let's get up early and go on the road. And Abaye said, a man and a woman going on the road when it's all deserted, not a good thing. They're probably going to do an Aveira. So he wanted to help them out, and he went on the road also. And from a distance, so he said to himself, I'm going to go and cause that they separate them from doing an Aveira, that I'll see if they're doing an Aveira, I'll stop them. He, someone take out the word Bagma. He followed them for 3 parsa. Parsa is 4 mil, so it comes out 3 parsa is 12 mil, like 12 kilometer. The Agma, some say take out the word Bagma, maybe it's taken from a different Gemara. Agma means like a marsh kind of a land. That's not probably the Pashup Pshat. Probably it's a mistake, this word. And nothing happened on the road. They were talking, very nothing. They had no bad intention. And when it came time to part ways, the man and woman, they parted the ways. So they said that our pathways are distant. We go going two different directions. Tzavs and Basima being together was so sweet. Like it was wonderful being together. Okay, goodbye. They just left. And Abai was like shocked. The man and woman on a road for 12 kilometers all by themselves. They didn't know Abai was following them, and they didn't do any Avera. If it would have been me, I wouldn't have been able to overcome such a test. If it would have been me, the words he says literally is if it would have been the one that I hate, which doesn't mean that. It means that the opposite, the one that I love. If it would have been me, I wouldn't have been able to hold back. So that means that Talmud Chacham had a bigger evil inclination than the common people. So I don't understand it. I don't think we see like that. I would think that Talmud Chacham maybe has a high evil inclination on his level, but not that he has the same evil inclination. So someone said a possibility that maybe people that are more into, let's say, riots and things like that, so they're not sensitive. It takes a big thing to make them sensitive. Just to walk on a road with a woman doesn't have to make them. But a Talmud Chacham who keeps himself away, so he's more sensitive to Averis, so maybe he's aroused easier. I don't know. I'm not saying a possibility. Somebody told me, but I don't know. Here it says the words literally say that a Talmud Chacham has a bigger nisayon than a person who's not, an Amoritz. So Abai felt bad. He was leaning on the Bur Dasha. That's some kind of a threshold. I don't know exactly what it was, but it would be, the Rashi says an expression the Gemara uses when somebody was like thinking and sighing and just like depressed. So he felt very bad that he wouldn't have been able to do what a regular person could do. An old man came and told him that whoever's bigger than his fellow man has a bigger evil inclination. That's what the Gemara is darshaning Kegdula Sos, that the Chachamim, the Yetzer Hara bothers more than others. Now the Gemara continues about the issue of the Yetzer Hara. Just to sum up what we said so far.
Rebbe, there's a Kabbalah that how Saba in many cases is Eliyahu Hanavi.
There's a Tosfos talks about it, and he says that he brings that, then he says that he has conscience on that it can't be always. So I don't know what to say. Tosfos addresses that issue, and he says that not always could that be true. The Gemara said, the last Gemara just said the Yetzer Hara has 7 names. What are they? It talks about Ra, evil. Orel is like uncircumcised. Tameh, Sone, enemy. A Michshol is a stumbling block, and then a stone, and also the hidden one. So those were the 7 names, and probably each one is a different characteristic of the Yetzer Hara. And then it said in the pasuk in Yoel.
What was the kasha that was raised?
There's a Tosfos someplace, not over here. There's a theory that Hahusaba, whatever it says, Hahusaba, the old man, is referring to Eliyahu Hanavi.
Yeah.
And Tosfos says someplace that it can be. Tosfos brings a more where it can't be about Hahusaba because it says something that it can't be. But
That's why it said, I didn't say every case, I said many cases. And I think that's proven in some places.
It's like he challenges the whole theory because it doesn't always mean that. So he seems to say that there's no proof to that theory. Okay. The Gemara continues about the Yetzer Hara. Bottom line, the Yetzer Hara overpowers a person every day. Rashi sounds a little bit like it gets stronger and stronger every day. There's also another Gersa over here, Meschadesh, that it renews. And the idea would be that the Yetzer Hara comes every day with new tactics. Don't think that you overpowered the Yetzer Hara, so you got him already. That the Yetzer Hara doesn't give up. Every day it comes with a different scheme and different camouflage. You don't recognize them. One day it comes. Yeah, all kinds of, I don't have to, all kinds of different. Sometimes it could be a woman, sometimes it could be Talmud Chacham looks like, and long periods. You never know. Every day Tzar comes in all sizes and shapes, and no, that's the Gersa of Meschadesh, that every day comes with new tactics. Our Gersa is Mesgaber. Shenema rak rak kol hayom, because it's constantly bad. Rak rak kol hayom, so Rashi says that it's constantly overpowering. It doesn't mean you can't overcome it, but it means that there's always an issue with the Yetzer Hara. As long as we're here, there's an issue of the Yetzer Hara. Top line, there's a Gemara that says, there is another Gemara that says, David Melech killed the Yetzer Hara, and the Gemara says someplace, I think in Evan Shleimer they bring down, that this thing the Gemara is talking about, that Talmud Chacham is so difficult, but he says that eventually when a person comes to a certain level, it does stop. So maybe that helps, that it's not an everlasting battle. The person does come to a certain level. But the Gemara doesn't sound like that. The simple words in the Gemara say that it's a battle as long as we're here. Top line, I'm Rav Shimon Lakish.
Rashi seems to say on top,
That gets more and more. Getting that misguided. It gets more and more.
He changes his
Right. I said there's two guesses over here. We have Misgaber, the other Gemara, the other guess in Kedushin says over there Mischade, so there being two guesses. So Rashi's guess seems to be Misgaber. I'm Rabbi Shem Malach. More about the Yetzirah. Yisrael Shalom Misgaber Allah B'chol Yom U'Vakesh La Misa. This we had in Tehillim recently, and we said we're going to get there in Sukkah. Here we are. This pasuk was brought down from Tehillim 37, which we just learned recently. So it says over there, Russia, but the Gemara is going to dash that Russia means the evil inclination. It's interesting the Gemara doesn't give an eighth name. It's also called the Russia. Before we had Ra, and here it says Russia also. The Gemara dashes that the Russia is also a Yetzirah. So it says here that the Yetzirah every day overpowers man and he tries to kill him. The Yetzirah is trying to kill the man. Shenemar so for Russia the Russia is looking at the tzaddik and trying to kill him. If Hashem wouldn't help the tzaddik, he wouldn't be able to overcome the Yetzirah. The Yetzirah is very strong, but Hashem helps. That's the next pasuk over there. It says the Russia wants to kill the tzaddik, but Hashem does not forsake the tzaddik in the hand of the Russia. He's not going to find him guilty in their judgment. So Hashem saves the tzaddik. The Masilah Shah brings this down, and he says that if a person does what he does, if a person does all he could, Hashem is going to help him. But he says here, you need help. You can't do it by yourself. But if you don't do whatever you could, then Hashem's not going to help. When does Hashem come in to help? After you do whatever you could, you do your maximum, then Hashem is going to help. If this disgusting one eats up with you, and that's the Yetzirah, there's not a pasuk here. It's called another name for the Yetzirah, but it's not quoting a pasuk over here. It's saying it on its own. If this disgusting one, which is the Yetzirah, probably it means to say that it's coming with something disgusting. Probably the type of Bavaria that it's trying to tell you to do is probably disgusting. That's why the reason that he uses that word, or else it could have said a different name for him. When it's coming to do some kind of, I'd say Chil Shabbos, let's say, maybe we wouldn't call him a Menubal. Probably a Menubal means something about Arayas, I imagine. But it says if the Menubal comes, so Mashayel of Beis Medrash, drag him into the Beis Medrash, means go to learn. When you learn, that's going to overpower the Yetzirah. And it means a pasuk. First he says, if it's like strong like a stone, he's going to melt. And Barzel, who misposes. If it's metal, it's going to also explode. And it brings a drash for all that. One pasuk compares the Torah to water, like it says, woe or behold, everyone thirsty go to water, and that's referring to Torah. So you see that water is a marshal for Torah. Rashi said it also in Amar when I said over there. Interesting, the Gemara didn't say it before. Here the Gemara brings a pasuk. Rashi before said when it said that the Yetzirah is called the Sonei, so it says, what was the pasuk to give your? It said, if your enemy is hungry, so give him bread. If he's thirsty, give him water. Over there, Rashi over there says water is Torah. It brings this pasuk. So it's interesting. The Gemara didn't say it before. Rashi does say it. Here's the Gemara that Rashi got it from. So here it just brings that the Torah is called water. What do you know about water and stone? And the pasuk says that water is able to erode the stone. So if the Yetzirah is like a stone, so the water is going to be able to overcome it. So the Torah is water, the Yetzirah is stone, and the water is going to be able to overcome the stone. And Barzalu Mispotze, it's another pasuk to show that if the Yetzirah is like iron, so he's going to explode. The Siv, my word Hashem says is like fire, and like a patish, the Pashup Pshat seems to be like a patish, is like a big sledgehammer that's able to explode the rock, the boulder. So that's the question. What does that have to do with Barzal over here? The Bar says if the Yetzirah is like iron, it's going to become misposed. What does that have to do with the pasuk? The pasuk is talking about that sledgehammer is able, which is the metal, is able to explode the boulder. What it's talking about. So some of the different cases. Some say im selah who misposed. Some say in Barzal Fapeya. Rashi over here says that when you have milk in fire, is Rashi v'ha'esh. Second line. V'ha'esh mifapeya sa Barzal. V'ha'enu misposed. Shani tells us this in a minute that when you put iron into fire, so then it gets red hot and it starts having sparks coming out. So Rashi says that's the misposed of the iron. Not that so Rashi reads into the pasuk patish yifotzeitz, which would mean that patish is misposed, which is not the pasuk on the pasuk. The pasuk is that the sledgehammer is able to explode the boulder. So this Rashi either you have to change the words over here, either the more you have all these possibilities. Taisvus talks about it. Taisvus starts in Amar Aleph, and you turn the page to Amud Beis, and he has different shatim in this Rash. Either it's saying that the stone is going to be misposed, it's not the iron, or it says that the iron is going to give out sparks. But whatever the idea is, whatever the Yetzirah is compared to, if it's going to be a stone, or it's going to be iron, or it's going to be a boulder, it's already Evan. So why should I say a boulder now again? Whatever the shot is, it means that the Yetzirah will be able to conquer the evil inclination. Amr Rav Shmuel bar Nachmani, Amr Rav Yonasan, Yetzer Hara Masisa Olad Ha'olam Hazeh, Umeir Olad La'olam Haba. The Yetzer Hara, he has two hats. One is he's first the evil inclination, and then he goes to be the prosecutor, and he testifies against the person. First, in this world, he entices the person, and then he's going to testify against him in Olam Haba. So don't trust him. He's the one who himself is going to turn against you, and he's going to testify against you. There's another Gemara says similar. It says, "Who satan who Yetzer Hara malach hamavos." Same idea, that he's the one who's Yored Mastin, Yored Mesis, whatever. Then Olo Mastin, that he's coming now to entice us, but later on he's going to prosecute against us. Shenemar mefanek min noah avdo b'achvisei yamano. That's the pasuk. It says, I think pasuk in Mishlei, that a person first. The idea is simple. The simple shot is that a person has a slave, and he's going to be mefanek him. He's going to pamper him. So at the end, he's going to become the master. That's the first shot of the pasuk, that a person who pampers his servant from youth. So at the end, he's going to be the master. You're going to be serving him. You have to know how to take care of your slave. Put him in his place. That he should know that he's a servant. But the Gemara is mentioning that the Eved is here is the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is supposed to be serving you. You're supposed to be in control of him. But if you give in to him, at the end, Manon. He's going to be Manon. But the Gemara doesn't want to say Manon means the master. It wants to say that it's going to be a witness against you. How do you see from the word Manon that it means a witness? So the Gemara is a drash. Shekain ba'atbach shalabchia karo l'sa'ad Manon. Atbach. Atbach is a new code for the olive base. And in the code of people know Atbash, people know that. There's also album. We had that in Sechet Shabbos. A few over there we Achas Bata Gift. There were a few codes over there we had them Shabbos Tafkuf Dalet. This is one that's not over there. There's a new code in olive base. It's called Atbach. So in Atbach of Rabchia, the word Manon will change to Sada. Sada is Aramaic for witness. This word. So these four letters of Manon can change to Sada. How do you do that? So Rashi, there's a Rashi over here. They say it's not really Rashi. Say that this is the Oruch. And Rashi is similar, but we'll see part of the Rashi at least. Here's the Rashi. He says the olive base. If you have Atbach Gaz Du, what does that mean? You see the olive base Gimel Dalet, and then it goes. You skip the Hay, and then you go backwards. Vav Zayin Ches Tes. What does that mean? That every pair adds up to 10. 1 and 9. Aleph is going to go 1 and 9. 2 and 8. 3 and 7. 4 and 6. But that's the tens. But you don't talk about a Hay. Because they
I
would
have
be
a chart. Would you like to see it on the chart, or you want to?
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you. We had it once upon a time, but I don't have the means now to show it. Thank you. Here's the Hay's left. You have everything that adds up to 10, and then you have the hundreds that you have Chaf Lamed Mem a little bit higher if you could, Lev Yaakov, on our stream at least, or maybe a smaller that we can get everything in over there. Thank you. Okay. So Chaf Lamed Mem Nun. Well, good. Okay. So that's going to be the hundreds. How do you have? You have 28, 30, and 70, 40, and 60. That all adds up to 100. And again, the nun is left out. And now this shot is this of Rashi is really the Aruch. They say is adds up to 1,000, and that's a chiddush because kufay shit up. But then they say that the otiyot sofiyot, the end letters, the mem sofit, nun sofit, pei sofit, tzadi sofit, and there's also a chaf sofit which is going to be left out. Here it's adding up to 1,000. And according to this code, it comes out that after you get to 400, kufay shin tough is 100, 200, 300, 400, and then it's going to be the top is 500, and then maybe it's going to be 600, 700, 800, 900, and that's going to be adding up to 1,000. So that's a new way of doing it that we'll do. I'll say it the way it is because maybe it's simpler this way. There's something it's simpler because it's in the Rashi and it's on the chart already. So we'll do it the way it says. There might be some questions on this chart. So according to this code, let's look for the word manon. Manon would be is a samach, and nun. Now nun. According to this, the nun and the hay and also the chof sofit, since they're out of the pairs, so they appear for themselves. So nun can be exchanged with hay. So manon is mem nun vav nun. So mem, you said is samach. Nun is going to be hay, and then vav is going to be daled. So that's samach hay daled, and then again hay is because the nun is going to be hay. So you have sahada. There are questions on this shot. One kasha will be the nusach shin. I know. I believe the kasha. If anyone wants to see the Marshal brings down Rashi. He says that the Rashi we have printed by us is really the Aruch. If you want to Rashi, there's a little bit easier shot than the Marshal, which doesn't count the end letters, the otio sophia, and he has a shot which is a bit easier. But we'll say Rashi the way it says now. Thank you, Levi Yaakov, for the chart. Helped very much. And anyway, it says that the Manon could mean in this code is going to mean Sahada, which means in Aramaic it means a witness. So The point is that if somebody pampers his Yetzer Hara, at the end he's going to be a witness against him. Rav Huna Rami, more about the Yetzer Hara. Rav Huna asks contradiction. Ksiv ki ruach zenunim b'hissa, uksiv ki ruach zenunim b'kirbam. It's a similar pasuk that it says 2 times the same thing. But one time it says that there's a spirit of znus which took them astray. The other pasuk says ki ruach zenunim b'kirbam. Same pasuk, but instead of saying that it takes them astray, it's that there's a spirit of znus within them. That means that in the beginning it was just something outside that was taking them astray. At the end, if you listen to it, it's going to become internalized, integrated. It's going to become part of him. The tchila hissam, in the beginning, it's taking you astray, but it's not you. At the end, it becomes part and parcel. It becomes part of you. And that's the same idea the Gemara said before. The more you give into the Yetzer Hara, the more it becomes you, and it's harder to get rid of him. Amar Rava, b'tchila kara haylach, u'lebesav kara areach, u'lebesav kara ish. In the beginning, it calls the Yetzer Hara a passerby, then it calls him a guest, and then it calls him the Balabais. And that's the story that it says, the Mashal that it says by David, that Nassim came to David to give him Musar about the story of Bathsheba. So over there it says that there was a man who had a lot of sheep, and a neighbor was poor, he only had 1 sheep. And when a guest came to the rich man, he took the sheep of the poor neighbor and he slaughtered it. And that was the time against him about Bathsheba. But anyway, in the Mashal it says that obviously that's the Yetzer Hara. And he's the one who came. In the beginning, it calls him a passerby, then it calls him a guest, and then it calls him the balabais. Here's the word helach. A passerby came to the rich man, and he had compassion on his own sheep and cattle to make it for the guest. Here it calls it a guest already. And then it says at the end, then he took the sheep of the poor man, and he made it for the man who came before him. So first it called him a passerby, then it called him a guest, then it calls him the ish. So that's what happens with the Yetzer Hara. In the beginning, he just passing by, and then he becomes a guest, and then he takes over. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. First white line. A person has a small organ in him. If you hunger it, means you don't give it, you don't overfeed it, then it's going to be satisfied. But if you overfeed it, then it's going to become hungry. That means you have to not indulge more than you're supposed to, and the indulging causes that it becomes more of a lust for having more relations. If he takes what he's supposed to take, that's good enough. Marivo, Shenema, Kimarisim by his bow, that's the drash in the pasuk. Rashi over here says something that means that a person, when he gives into his lust too much, so then he's going to become weak, physically weak. But there's many rayas, there's a raya in the Gemara and Sanhedrin that it means, look, the way we said it, that a person who he indulges too much, that makes him more thirsty for more indulgence. So the same thing, the same idea is not to give into the Yetzer Hara, to do what he's supposed to do, and then you'll feel a good, happy life. Second white line, for Hashem has regret, as if remorse. Of course, not to be taken literally, but it means that Hashem, the words say that Hashem has remorse that he created them. Of course, Hashem knows everything, Hashem doesn't have remorse, but the change of mind, so to speak, but also not to be taken literally. But the point is to be that these things are bad. And Hashem, Kilu, Kivayachal will be saying, I wish I wouldn't have made it. Ve'eluhein, Galus, Kasdim, Ishmaelim, the Yetzer Hara. Exile, the Kasdim, that's like the Babylonians, Ishmaelim, and Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. That's how our subject comes in over here because of the fourth one. But we're going to get the bonus of the other 3. Galus, the Chsiv, Hashem, that Hashem says, what am I doing here? So that kind of expression means like, I wish I wouldn't be here. So even though Tomar Galus, so that's why Hashem made it, but the exile for the punishment. But Hashem says, like, what am I doing here? Which is an expression of saying, I wish I wouldn't have done it. Kasdim, the Babylonians, the Chsiv, hey, there is Kasdim, Zeh Am Lo Haya. The pasuk says, the land of the Kasdim, this nation shouldn't have been. The pasuk shot is that they're as if they never were, but the drash is to say, is like Halavai, they wouldn't have been. That's again the same idea that Hashem says Halavai, they wouldn't have been made. Yishmaelim the Chsiv, Yishloyu, Aolim, the show the din, Uvatuchos Lamagiz Ayel, La'asher Hevi Aloha Biyado. That the tents are at Shalva, Yishloyu, like Shalva, the tranquility for the robbers, and they're like Batuchos, like security for those who are angering God. So the word is dashing that it means that Hashem is the one, as if to say that Hashem is the one who brought the problem on himself. That Hashem has regret that he did it. He shouldn't have made the Ishmaelim. And the Yetzer Hara, Yosi. And the word is dashing that it means that Hashem says the thing that I made bad, as if to say that I did bad by making it. And Hashem says that I shouldn't have done it. So it's some kind of expression, again, not to take it literally, but it means that Hashem says that it wasn't good to make the Yetzer Hara. But surely not to take it literally, because Hashem knows that he did it perfect and it is good. But it means that many people lose out by the Yetzer Hara, and I don't know what to learn from this, but it means that Halavai wouldn't have been. But if it wouldn't have been, then we wouldn't be doing anything. The whole plan of creation is this Yetzer Hara. So I don't know what to take out of the Gemara. First line, first line on the page. Not for the following three psukim, the feet of the Jews. It says here that the enemies of the Jews. It's a euphemism. It means the Jews. They would falter. They would fall. These three psukim are like a support for Am Yisrael. And all psukim are going to say what the idea is going to be, the common denominator, that Hashem says that the Yetzer Hara is very, very strong and people fall, as if to say, like, it's understandable that they fall. And here Am Yisrael has some kind of excuse, at least. Of course, there is free will, but it's like very hard. And they have some kind of a defense to say that it was too hard. What do you see in these psukim? The first pasuk we just brought, that Hashem said, like, I made the bed, like Hashem says, like it's too much. Like clay in the hands of the potter, so too is Am Yisrael, which means that Hashem is the one who made the whole situation, and He made the Yetzer Hara, and it's in Hashem's hands to be able to make us a pure heart. But again, we have the free choice, so it is up to us. But Hashem is saying, I could help you out. The Gemara is making it sound like we have some defense to say that we couldn't do it by ourselves. The Idach in the third pasuk, the same idea. I'm going to take away the stone heart, the Yetzer Hara from you. I'm going to give you a flesh of heart. That means a heart of flesh. That means that Hashem could make us with less of a Yetzer Hara. And it's very difficult in the situation that it is now. It's a very difficult test. Papa says the following pasuk is also going to be a proof. It says, I'm going to give my spirit in you that you should do my will. So again, you see that Hashem could make that we should have not such a hard test. The way it is now is very hard. Next Rash. Here they say it comes in because of Mashiach ben Yosef. That's why we finished with the Yetzer Hara, and now the Gemara is going back to Mashiach ben Yosef, which is going to be coming up soon. So that's why this pasuk comes in. It says in the pasuk, "Vayareni Hashem arbocha Hashem." It says Hashem showed me. Probably pasuk in Yecheskel. Is that where it is? Vayareni Hashem. Yecheskel. Vayareni Hashem arbocha Hashem. Hashem showed me 4 craftsmen. Who are they? The pasuk doesn't say. He says the 4 people are the 4 craftsmen: Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu, Kohen Tzedek. Some say Malki Tzedek, and these are the 4 Charashim, the 4 craftsmen. So Rashi says, yes, please.
Yeah, just one point to address your question in the Iyun Yankov, where it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mischaret. He points out, he says exactly what you answered, but he points out that in Bereshit Vav it says V'Yinachem Hashem. So that anthropomorphism is used in the Torah itself, even though we know it was by design to give man schar.
Yes, but over there it means that Hashem had to change. Meaning that till now was one plan, and now another plan. But here it doesn't mean that. So I'm not sure how to use it over here. Over there means that first Hashem had one plan, then Hashem changed the plan. Not that he didn't know he was going to change, but here it doesn't mean that he changed. So I still don't know what to do with it over here. Yeah, I should call for that. So Rashi says the reason why they called Charashim is because they built the Beis Hamikdash. The ones that builders of the Beis Hamikdash, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu. Rashi says something about Har HaKarmel, that he built the Mizbeach. But these are the ones who are called the builders. But most of Avsheish, over there the pasuk says Hashem showed me 4 craftsmen, and over there it talks about also there are chronos. There are some kind of horns, and the Gemara says that they are bad. The chronos are bad. Most of Avsheish. The pasuk says over there, these are the horns that scattered Yehuda. Now, these people, if you say that's talking about Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, Eliyahu, and Kohen Tzedek, Malki Tzedek, so they're not the ones who are scattering Yehuda. Those are the ones who are bringing Yehuda back. So how do you read the pasuk? So really, the Gemara is very, very wondrous, because if the pasuk found the pasuk over there, that's what it's talking about. It says that there are Charashim and there are Chronos, and the Charashim are going to knock down the Chronos. Not that the Charashim are the Chronos. So that's what the Gemara is going to say now, but it makes it sound like it's a big chiddush. And Avsheish said Akasha, and he answered it, and Avsheish said, wow, that's a great shot. So there's difficulty, because that's the only way to read the pasuk over there. That the Chronos are not the Charashim are the good ones, and the Chronos are the bad ones. But the Gemara makes it sound like it's a big chiddush. First, the Gemara said, who are the Charashim? It says these 4 people, these 4 tzaddikim. And then the Gemara says, how could you say that? It says over there, these are the Chronos who scattered Yehuda. So he told them, no, continue reading the pasuk. Come away, shuffle the sefer Dikra. Continue reading the end of the pasuk. It says, Vayavayu Eila la'achrid osam v'yados says Karnas hagoyim anosim karen alevis yudal zevosam. These, who's these? The Charashim, the craftsmen, are going to come to shudder these, to throw down these Chronos. the horns of the goyim that are picking up their horn to scatter Yehuda. So the Chavash are good people. The Kronos are the bad people. So it's not a kasha. That's what it says, that the Chavash are the good ones, and the Kronos are the bad ones. So he says, Avsheshes was so impressed with this. Why do I have to start up with Chana? So who said this Russia over here? This was Rav Chana Bar Bizna. So Avshesh asked the kasha. Rav Chana answered. He said, "Wow, Rav Chana, like nobody should start up with you on Agarata," which he got a big compliment. But the kasha is that's pushed around the pasuk over there. So this Gemara's explanation. What did Avshesh think? The pasuk continues. The Gemara continues more drushes also about. I don't know now. Rashi says he doesn't know, and there's a pasuk which is a very obscure pasuk, and the Gemara is going to darshan it, say who's referring to, and Rashi says he doesn't know what it is. So let us read the Gemara. Vayazeh Shalom. There's going to be peace. Ashur ki yavo b'arseinu v'chiyidroch b'amanoseinu. When Ashur is going to come into our land and trample on our palaces, v'akimonu alav shelo ro'im v'shmonanu sichei adam. We're going to stand up against him 7 shepherds and 8 princes. And who's that? Pasuk doesn't say. Very obscure over there. Very vague psukim. So something about 7 shepherds and 8 nesichim. So 8 the princes. Who are these people? Maninu Shiva Rome. Who are the 7 shepherds? The Gemara says David Bemsa. David Melech is in the middle, and Adam Sheis Mesushelach Miyamino, Avram Yaakov and Moshe B'Smalo. And like it doesn't give any remnants how do you know that? Why they called Roim? Why they called shepherds? But it says David's in the middle. Adam Sheis Mesushelach. Adam Sheis is the Adam and his son was Sheis and Mesushelach. And Rashi says he was a tzaddik. And we find that he died during the 7 days before the marvel over there. And then Avram, Yaakov, and Moshe, and Yitzchak's not here. Rashi says of Pshat why Yitzchak might not be here, but Avram, Yaakov, and Moshe on the left. Those are the 7 shepherds. Who are the Shmona Nesichei Adam? Umaninu Shmona Nesichei Adam. These princes. So the first one is Yishai, and then Shaul, Shmuel, Amos, Tzfania, Tzidkiah, Mashiach, Elio. So again, like Rashi says, I don't know what all this is about. What's the connection of these people? But it says Yishai and Shaul, Shmuel, Amos and Tzfania, these are the Nevi'im, and Tzidkiah, some of it gives a Chizkiah, Mashiach and Elio. Some say Elio and Mashiach, just the order. So Rashi says just the point that Rashi says he doesn't know. That's the Rashi where he says he doesn't know. Lo yadati tam bohem. I don't know. Lo yadati, I don't know what it's all about the 7 shepherds and the 8 Nesichim. I don't know. Then Rashi says a possibility of what Yitzchak is. But just as far as what the Gemara is saying, Rashi says he doesn't know, so we'll hold on to it and chazir it 40 times like we're supposed to, Be'ez Hashem, and one day we'll know. I guess we'll stop here. There's a little bit more, but we could go for it's already late, so we could finish. I'll start from here tomorrow. Okay.
Rebbe.
Yes, please.
One nakuda that enforces what I said before. He summarizes in the In Yaakov Likutim from Gaon Yaakov and draws from other sources that he answers the question of Hafla by Hashem and Ba'elu Boichim. The way he answers it is like this. He first gives a hezber, which I won't read. I'll just give you the nakuda. The hezber is that his gabrus is only shayach where there's a genuine fight going on, and then there's a minatzeach. So his gabrus applies to the tzaddikim. The Rishonim give up. His gabrus applies both to the tzaddikim and the Yetzer Hara are misgaber Kol Yom. It's like a battle. One does one does the other, and then there's a minatzeach in the end. And then he says like this. I'll read the end of it because it sums up everything. He says, Aval l'tzadikim asher b'kol yom vayom hayu lochamim imoy b'kli krav v'yetzer hara haya b'takbulos oise milchama l'izgaber aleim lekak nidbe lehem kahar k'fi shahayat l'besof Shahaya lebesof yeh har gavoa, ba'al kol zeh hayo menatzim oisoi. V'hine kol magmas hatzadikim lios kol yameim amelim lizgaver al yitzram b'toikef ha'ishtadlusam ubetov b'chirosam mibli oizer v'sad mimaron. And that's the nakuda. Mibli oizer v'sad mimaron. Rak the bechirasa miatzmam ulaasid, and this is the reality that they see. Laasid kasher roy matzadikim bidbalehem bahar gavoa az hitchilu livchoi v'tztairu v'kirbam v'yoimru oy lanu eich yecholim anachnu likvosh el sahara zeh machmas atzmeinu umitzidenu hu hanimna ubevadai. And this is their conclusion. ובוודאי, מה שניצחנו את היצרה, היה הכל בסיוע הבורא. ואיזה ממורם, it was only Hashem and not us. ואם כן, לא פעלנו כלום בעולם, בעצמנו, we didn't do nothing by ourselves. אם כן, מאין ולאין יגיע לנו שכר מחמס יגיע כפינו. They thought it was all their own action and they were amal, and then they find at the end it could only be Hashem, so they're asking, we have no scar. So here's what Hashem replies, Hello, Akol Hashem, they say. Who? Akol Hashem, Hayagomer Badenu, Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this is the answer, Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ba Lahashkit Taram, V'lahazbir Lehem Ponim, Ki Iker Nitzachon HaYetzer Hara Hayakol Mitzad HaTzadikim Batzmam, Ma Oisahu Yisborach, Af HaKadosh Baruch Hu Toma Imahem, and that's the pliya. He's Toma Imahem, Shenamar Ki Yifla V'chulei, Ubezeh Igloi Milsa Shekol Ikra Nitzachon HaYetzer Haya Mitzad HaTzadikim, Ki Gam Hu Yisborach Mitama Imahem, Ha'ek Yachol Likvosh V'chulei, V'yanuchu Mitzaram, and he caused them, the tzaddikim, to feel good again. And this is said b'shem Mikubatz Michokmei Sfardim V'ripinto Muva B'Sefer Goin Yaakov.
Yashikor. So that's saying that they were feeling weird because they thought it wouldn't have any schar.
Right.
Yashikor. It answers the question.
Because first of all, they put their pride in the fact that there was a hisgabrus of a milchama, that they were trying to be menatzeach, and they were successful. So they thought, at least I was amal, I did my job, I was successful. And then they came to the conclusion, wait a minute, that's impossible. It must be, it was all Hashem, and I'm bluffing myself, so I deserve nothing. So then Hashem is hifloimem to show them, no, your effort was a gurum, and you are worth something, and therefore you get the schar.
Yashikor. Thank you. Yashikor.
Shavua tov, everyone.
Shavua tov, everybody.